I'm going to be talking about abortion laws. More specifically, I am going to be arguing for the policy change of that there should be pro-choice laws for women to have the right to receive an abortion during the first 2 trimesters. Now, there are many laws saying that abortions are legal if done a certain way within a certain time frame, and that's just making sure that the woman's body is safe and also making sure that there are no long-term effects. But there are also laws that make abortions illegal and not funded for patients. And some states make it really hard for resources for the procedure to be found. And also, some states don't really even have places where you can get them done. Planned Parenthood says that an abortion is safe, short term and long term, both physically and mentally. They say it doesn't cause any harm to the reproductive system or to the mental health of the woman. They also say on their website that they have different kinds of procedures that can be done and that it's different for every single individual. And so it can be shaped to every single person's need. And actually, 4 out of 10 women with an unplanned pregnancy actually end up getting an abortion. And 1 in 4 women in the US, by the time they're 45, end up having an abortion. So this is a lot of women. This is about 25% of women by the time they get to 45 are having abortions, yet they are not fully legal or funded or given all of these resources to help aid the woman. The American Pregnancy Association is a good resource for women who are in this position because they give options on the best routes to take. And this support is important because a woman in this position could be scared, alone, but having all this information just makes it a little bit easier. And there are, like I said before, there are states that make it impossible to find places to receive the procedure, especially if there's not a Planned Parenthood implemented in that state. And so actually, there used to be just one place in Mississippi in the entire state that had abortion procedures available, and they only allowed it for the first 16 weeks of the pregnancy. So to give you guys some background information, the first trimester is about 12 weeks, and then that's only 4 more into the second trimester, which goes all the way to week 28. And so that barely covers any of the pregnancy. Yet the entire second trimester, it's safe to receive an abortion during. And so also ThoughtCo gives amazing resources on the website to help tell the time frames about what are legal in every single state, because some states only allow them for the first trimester and half of the second. That's a majority of what they do, even though, once again, it's physically safe and mentally safe for the entire second trimester. And Canada and Colombia are actually both countries that have laws saying that abortions are legal anytime during the pregnancy. And that's not what that's not what I want my policy to be. I think that that's good, but it's not physically healthy for the woman past the second trimester. But there are severe cases, such as in El Salvador. It is illegal in all cases of pregnancy, so rape, incest, everything, and it's legal during all stages. And women are having to sneak around and find places out of their country to receive these procedures that may not be in a safe environment or a safe place. And women in the US are actually having to do this as well because they are running out of options. And this is putting stress on them, and this is harming them, and this is making them feel mentally unstable. And so that's what's causing the physical and mental pain to them, because they are having to go out of their way to try and find something. And there are not that many resources in the US that are helping these women. And the National Network of Abortion actually gives resources on their website to also tell how to get your abortion funded. But the problem with that is that there are not enough ways for a woman to get funding for their abortions. Not every state has laws that give women the funding they may need. Most of the funding just goes to people or women who medically cannot have the kid, or it is from rape or incest. But those are not the only reasons that women would not want to have a child. So they deserve to be funded as well. Right now, there's the big thing going on where the government wants to stop funding Planned Parenthood, but they're only doing that. It's like people don't understand why they're really doing that. They want to get rid of the people who are primarily using that as their main doctor, but they also want to get rid of that aspect of them that are providing abortions as well, even though only 3% of all of Planned Parenthood services are catered towards abortions. It's mainly for cancer screenings and STI screenings and for contraceptive purposes. But overall, there's 1.3 million American women receiving abortions every year, and 398,000 of them are going to Planned Parenthood. And so that would also shut down all of their funding that they're receiving right now. And there are many organizations out there that are pro-choice for abortions right now, like Planned Parenthood, as I mentioned, the NARAL, Pro-Choice America, the National Organization for Women, and then there's Pro-Choice Women of America, and there's just so many different things, but they're not speaking up as much as they should about this problem. Because overall, I mean, we have great laws over here in America, but they're not as spread out as they should be for the abortion laws. Women are not able to get them within the second trimester like they physically and could, and it'd still be healthy. So I think that there should be a longer time period for allowing abortions, such as during the healthy period, first and second trimester, and that there should be better funding for all of this. Are there any questions?
Just one thing. So you were saying about like getting funding to help women with paying for abortions. So I completely agree. If the woman got pregnant against her will, rape or whatever, absolutely she should be compensated because it's not her choice. But if between a boyfriend or a hookup or whatever and they get pregnant, like I don't know. My only concern is the money coming from the government to pay for not their screw up. Like I don't want to call it a screw up. Like if a couple got pregnant and the one want to get an abortion, my personal opinion is that that should be on the couple to come up with the money to if they need to get an abortion or consider keeping the baby. But like I understand how big of a commitment and a responsibility a child is, but just giving the money to everybody, I don't believe that would ever be able to get through Congress or whatever, just because there's so many people that are just stupid, to be honest, and the getting pregnant is not a walk in the park. So like I completely agree with you. If it's ever against their will or if there's special circumstances, having the being able to be funded definitely going to take a lot of stress off.
Yeah, but not all contraceptive purposes are 100% accurate. So there are so many accidents, and those women just don't have a way out, it seems like. And so there are cases like that. But how can someone really say like the difference between like, oh, we just didn't,
that's true. That's
you're stupid, but also, like I've been on birth control, we use condoms and all of these other contraceptive purposes, but there's really no way to tell between them. And so that's why it's important to give funding to everyone, because there are people in those cases.
Okay.
But I mean, if you go to the government about that, they're going to be like, well, how are we going to be able to tell apart those kinds of people? There's like no proof behind that. I mean, if you're on birth control, then you can go to your doctor and get like proof of that. But other than that, there's not really like a way to decipher between those kinds of people. And so that would kind of screw those people who were careful.
Yeah. I wanted to. So you said that after you don't believe after the second trimester that it's healthy for women to get an abortion. That studies have shown that.
Yeah.
Is it more mental or is it more physical when it comes?
They said it's more physical, but it also, I mean, it can mentally affect someone, but it's mainly physical because of the reproductive system, and it can cause harm, and it can make you maybe unable to have a kid in the future, or just harm anything in there.
Can people, like, if you are like, honestly, I'm ignorant on if there's any states that abortion's actually legal, but if like, is there any place, like if you're caught getting an abortion, like can you get in serious trouble in some places, like, or is it kind of just like,
in the US for the most part, it's legal for the first trimester at least, but some states is only part of the second trimester. Like I was saying, in Mississippi, it was only for like the first 4 weeks in the second trimester, but studies have shown that it can go the entire all the way 28 weeks. So it's just, I don't know what the repercussions would be of that, but like I mentioned, in El Salvador, it's completely illegal. And I saw that they said that like people got arrested for it, and the government just stepped in and completely would arrest them and all this kinds of stuff.
You have, from your research, you happen to know like what the average, like, is it kind of depending case by case how much an abortion costs? Like, is it dependent on how far along the baby's actually like grown? Depend on the abortion, or is like they're kind of pretty standard price for abortions, I guess?
I didn't really do research on the price, but I know that there are different kinds of abortions you can do. There's the pill that you can take, but that's only for like a certain time frame. I think it's only during the first trimester you can take it, and then the other one's for the procedure. And I would assume that the procedure costs a lot more than the pill, but you'd have to take the pill within a certain time frame. And so it definitely could get pretty costly to actually have the procedure.
Okay, that for sure. Plus, like, just the health risk with getting a procedure like that, there's always health risks you got to worry about. So.
Yeah.
I think too, like, after, like you said, it's not healthy after the second trimester. I think, like, for the third trimester, it'd be, like, more expensive because, like, at that point, the baby is almost fully developed. So, like, a lot bigger.
Yeah, and it would just cause a lot more harm, too.
Yeah.
My only thing is, so I would definitely understand completely funding like the first trimester, but after 24 weeks, like technically a baby can be born in 5.
That's why it's not really healthy to get one after, or safe after the second trimester, because like the third trimester is basically a baby.
Yeah.
It could be born. Yeah, but I have a question for you guys. Do you think that there's a stigma around getting abortions? I know, like, y'all said there are people who like make mistakes and that, but do you think like overall there's like a stigma on them?
I mean, I think it honestly depends on how long you let it go. Like, if you want a kid, you want a kid, I guess. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like it's a big decision, but like, you're going to be able to make that call sooner than later. If you're waiting till the second, almost third trimester to make the call about getting an abortion, like, you need to seriously sit down and like think about if you want a kid or not. Like, I just think, yes, there's definitely a stigma about getting an abortion because you're ending someone's life at that point. Like, depending on how far along you get, that's where I think a lot of the like funding after it is only the first trimester plus a little bit. Like, that's the whole like, because you're getting of morality where like, should we be paying to end an innocent child's life? Like, discussion can be an entire like day long thing. Just like, but I definitely think there is a stigma, unfortunately, associated with abortions, no matter what. Just because, like, it's either you screwed up or you just don't want the kid, like you don't want responsibility. But like, it is such a huge responsibility and commitment that like, I absolutely have the ability to end it if they.
Yeah. I think like when you first like realize that you're pregnant, like you would kind of already know like if you do want a kid or not.
Exactly.
Like the waiting like super late to have an abortion because like you would kind of already know.
Yeah, I agree.
You just get to a point where like, so you got to have the kid or not, like.
Yeah.
Because like if you're at that second trimester stage and like you're still thinking about not having a kid, like it could, like, you can think about like, oh, well, what has the woman been doing with her body? Like, I should be like paying herself for like to give birth and stuff like that and all that. But if she's still like, if they're still in like not sure on this decision, like, you got to 100% if you're gonna raise a kid or not. You know what I mean? Like, if you got to be on board from day one. So
trimester goes till like 28 weeks. I feel like you should know before 28 weeks whether.
That's like that's insane. Yeah, I feel like you should know like 2 to 3 months, kind of what's going on.
I mean, ladies, you tell me. I have no idea, but like, how soon like do some people know like, or they get symptoms?
So,
how quickly can you know nowadays?
I mean, you can honestly kind of know within a month or less because you can miss your period and then it's like, okay, well, I kind of need to be a little bit worried or something. And then you can just go pick up a test and they can tell, I think, like 3 weeks now, even like 2 weeks. I mean, it depends how much you want to pay on the test, really.
Okay.
There's tests that say they're 80% accurate, like a week before you miss your period.
Mhm.
But they aren't. I knew I was pregnant at 6 weeks.
Mhm.
And so you can find out early. I mean,
Yeah.
you keep on missing your period. I don't know how you can wait until you have
Yeah.
relatively early.
Yeah. Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, it's kind of like unless you're not really paying attention to your period, then
Yeah.
you should know. That's like kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Any other questions or anything? All right. Well, thank you guys.